Now, the police helicopter was up on Monday night after 2,000 people turned up to a club in the centre of Guildford. Only 800 were expected. Surrey Police says there was a very real concern for public safety. There were reports of people being crushed in a fight in the middle of the crowd outside the casino club. Alan Roy is the Membership Services Director of the University of Surrey Student Union, and Matt Goodridge is the local police commander of Guildford Borough. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Mr Goodridge, first of all, Monday, extraordinary scenes. Lots of people sending photographs to us here at BBC Surrey of the number of police that were deployed. It was just down to the fact that more people than expected turned up at this nightclub.
Pretty well, yeah. I mean, there has been a little bit of misreporting, not on your part, potentially on our part, around it being a private party. And in fact, it was just a normal Monday night at Guildford. But what we experienced was a problem with social media, in effect, and the use of getting a lot of people coming into Guildford all at one particular time, and the roads and the area around casino nightclub not being able to take that number of people on the pavements. And yeah, it was a real serious problem for us on the night, and we deployed considerable resources from across the county to deal with it purely from a public safety point of view. And I would like to point out straight away, this was not a disorder issue. The crowd were actually very good-natured, and there were very few arrests, in fact less than we would normally make. But there were real concerns about public safety.
Sure, but there will be some people who say, did you really need to chuck up the helicopter and have someone shouting from a loud hailer to get people to move away from the area? I mean, we know how much it costs to put a helicopter in the air.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's a good point in that it does cost money to put up, but when it comes to public safety, I think a serious injury costs us considerably more. The fact is, there are times when only something like the loud hailer, the sky shout system from the helicopter will do, and I believe, I wasn't there on the night, that it was very effective at moving people away from the venue.
Alan Roy, you've got some insight on this, haven't you? Because Monday night is a night when a lot of planets are aligned, it seems.
Yeah, this happens every year. What happens is the University of Surrey students go home. They went home last weekend. And students who are from Guildford but studying at other universities have come home for the Christmas holidays. So there's a handful of Surrey students left here who stay here over the Christmas holidays. But there's everybody who's come back from other universities, and they've all met up with those who were at sixth form or school with. So it's always a very, very busy night. It was exceptionally busy this year.
And that is, as Matt Goodridge says, possibly down to social media, because everyone can make their plans in advance. And I guess because you've got the Wetherspoons and the kind of cheapy pubs down that end of town, I don't wish to cast aspersions as to
value options.
The value options which students like to take advantage of. So they were actually focused in that area as well. So it's sort of that's why you've got that crush there on a Monday night.
I don't quite go with this social media thing. I mean, we post hundreds of events on all forms of social media, and I wish we had several thousand people turning up to all of them. It just so happened, I think, also that Casino is now under new management. It's, some great chaps running it, doing a good job, so people like to go there. And, there's some good operations down there. People like to go out, and they were having fun.
The problem you've got, Matt, isn't it that you've got a very busy road down there? I mean, that has become a very popular spot for nightlife in Guildford, and yet it's on the one-way system, and there's a lot of traffic there. Are you going to have to think about how the premises are managed and licensed in future? Because if this can happen on a Monday night, it could potentially happen on a Friday and Saturday night in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. The points are all well made, and that particular area is always going to be an issue. The pavements are quite narrow. We've got the gyratory system, and we're working closely with colleagues from Guildford Borough Council and licensing department to see what we can do into the future. And that may include different alternative conditions on licences that cover more around the safety of the environment outside the premises rather than inside.
I mean, Alan, are you happy with the way that the police reacted to this? Because just the sheer weight of numbers and the fact that Chopper was up caused this amazing ripple in the force. I mean, we had so many photos sent to us. We had so many people saying, what on earth is going on in central Guildford? People obviously leapt to very different conclusions.
Yeah, it's slightly ironic, though, that, I mean, I've seen a crowd mentality, and really the only way to deal with that is large numbers of very, very visible policemen. If they had a handful of police, that would be potentially worse than no police at all. So I think he's right. The only way he could have dealt with it was very large numbers that were very visible, to deal with a crowd mentality.
Well, Mr. Goodridge, you obviously did your job very well because, as far as we understand, there were no injuries as a result of the operation, but you do have one person who was arrested for public disorder within the crowd. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in fairness and in defence of the good nature of that crowd that night, in fact, we had less arrests than we would normally make. So all in all, it worked out quite well, but nonetheless, the draw on the resources from across the county, and it is resources that have to come from other areas and other roles, was substantial.
OK, well, thank you very much for helping us to get to the bottom of something that has bemused a number of people for the last 48 hours. Appreciate your time. That's Matt Goodridge, Local Police Commander of Guildford Borough, and Alan Roy, the Membership Services Director of the University of Surrey Student Union. It's 8:45.